What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Morning Leap. This is Pastor Devon, and I have a very special guest with me. We are actually pre-recording this, so if you're watching this, just know that I'm not interacting with the chat at all. But I am interacting with somebody who is near and dear to us, and I'm going to let her introduce herself since she has a microphone. And you go ahead. Tell them who you are.
My name is Cameron. I'm going into my freshman year at Texas State, and I'm really excited.
There it is.
Excited to be here.
I love it. And excited to go to college, yes?
Yes, I am.
So we're doing this today really because we wanted to really talk not only to you about your story, about what you're getting ready to do, but to kind of find your heart as to why you're doing it, how you feel about what you're doing. But I think it's good for people. I know they've seen you. Mm-hmm. They've seen you plenty of times. You've gone to We Church and you've seen Cam. But I want you to give us the backstory about who you are, how you ended up in this place that you are, getting ready to graduate from high school. Clearly, you've been through life. That's most of us. But I don't think anybody even knows what your background is. So why don't you go ahead and give us a history of Cam?
I don't really know where to start, but I've basically lived in Richmond, Texas my entire life. I haven't lived anywhere else.
Get out of here.
I grew up in a house that was 10 minutes away from the current house that I live in, and the current house that I live in was my grandparents' house and is also the house that my mom grew up in. So
Jesus.
Had the house for like 40 years. I live in my mom's old bedroom.
What?
Yeah. And so that's like, this area is really all that I've known. My parents split when I was little, and so like my dad lived in Katy, so I lived in Katy for a little bit.
Okay.
And my grandparents live in Galveston, so I go to Galveston a lot, but like the Houston area is all that I've ever lived in.
And we're talking specifically really Richmond.
Yes.
Now, when we say Richmond, are we talking, because Nick, y'all used to live by First Colony Mall. Well, not First Colony. Is it First Colony? By First Colony. Like there's that side. I used to live on this side closer to Katy.
I live like right in the middle. I live right closer. It's like maybe 15 minutes from Sugar Land, 15 minutes from Rosenberg, and like 20 minutes from like Katy.
Oh, okay. Oh, and that's been your central. So you've seen, because this, mind you, we moved here like 7 years ago, but we heard that Richmond has changed over the years.
Oh, yeah.
So you've watched that evolve.
Yeah, like, you know where like the Texas Roadhouse is?
Yes.
And the Target and everything is?
Yes.
All of that used to just be land, and like we used to like go dirt biking back there, and like that's what I grew up like doing. And like, and so it's been like weird to like see everything like pop up just out of nowhere.
I want to know what it feels like. I couldn't imagine growing up in the room my dad was in. Oh, I would have nightmares. I would have absolute nightmares. So what is that like living in a house that has that much legacy in it?
It's interesting because for the first 10 years of my life, it was my grandparents' house.
Wow.
And so my grandma has like all of her little trinkets and stuff. And so like the place was like full of stuff. And like during Christmas, like when my friends would go over there, they would like talk about how it looked like Santa just exploded. And so like that was just, and so then when my grandparents moved, they took all of their stuff, and my mom didn't really, we moved in with my mom and my stepdad, and they didn't really have like decorations or anything. Oh. And they're very into like yoga and stuff, so they don't really have attachments to anything.
Free-spirited people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so everything, like the house is completely like different in a way.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but like I've always, especially when I was little, my grandparents were the people who mostly took care of me anyways.
Okay.
So I already kind of grew up in that house.
Got you. Okay.
So it was just like the ability to make a bedroom my own room.
Oh, got you. Okay, so it doesn't really feel like, I see what you're saying. That makes sense. Well, then how did you end up, well, let me ask this. How did you end up at We Church? Because I know I was introduced to you by that dude over there. But I know you, was it through school? and you ran into the Scion family, and then you ended up at the church?
So he and I actually met on Snapchat.
People still use Snap. That's a thing? Snapchat is still a thing?
Yes.
Like right now, like in 2025?
Yes.
It didn't die? I promise you, I thought it was like AOL. I thought it was like America Online at this point. That's wild. On Snap, how do you even meet on Snapchat? How does that even? Quick ad? What do you?
So like it's like mutual friends. So like we had like added each other and like we didn't really talk. And I posted something about lacrosse and he swiped up and he was like, "Oh, I could beat you in lacrosse." And
What do you even know about lacrosse? You play lacrosse? Oh, okay. He was flirting. That's what that was.
Yeah, and so then he ended up following me on Instagram, and I saw that we had a mutual friend, and his name is Cam too, and so that they like knew each other through basketball, and so I texted my friend Cam, and I was like, "Who is this person?" And he was like, "Oh, he's actually a really cool person," and
who doesn't play lacrosse?
Yeah, and like he was like overly hyping him up, and I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then
it's a great wingman.
Yeah, he was pretty good. And then but when I had met him, I was living with my best friend actually at the time.
How did that happen?
Because so my stepdad is we had some issues there here and there, and so it kind of like it got to a point where it was like, well, I'm already spending all this, like I'm avoiding being at the house. I'm spending all this time with my friend, and her parents were great people, like super great people. And so like one time, so I was in Colorado for a tournament and I came home, and then me and my mom got into a big argument, and it was like 2 a.m, and I just went to her house. And her parents were still up, and they just sat and talked with me for a few hours. And they were like, "Just come, we have an extra room, just come stay here."
Wow.
And so I went and I started living with them. I still went to school.
Yeah.
I was working, I was taking care of myself. And they always kind of reminded me, they were like, "You're doing good, like you're taking care of yourself."
Yeah.
And her parents are split. I was living with her mom and her stepdad, but she was still really close with her dad.
Okay.
And so we started going to church every now and then with her and her dad.
Okay.
And I remember like sophomore year, so there was from like COVID to like junior year, I didn't really believe in God.
Wow.
And
so this is recent for you.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
But I grew up, my grandpa, like, we grew up in a Methodist church, and I always went with him. He would teach like high schoolers in the morning. So then he would get me up at like 7 in the morning, and we would go to early morning service. And then at 9 a.m. he would teach the high schoolers, and I would help him out. And he would always make it fun, and I would get to help, and I always really liked that. And so then I always kind of like knew that there was something out there. And then my mom grew up super Christian and like was severely like devoted to Jesus and everything. And then she kind of, I think when my dad and her split, she kind of drifted away from it and like started putting her more spirituality in something else.
Makes sense.
And so then like that kind of rubbed off on me just because I was so young and I didn't have anybody else, like, especially because my grandparents had just moved to Galveston. So, and before I could drive, I wasn't really going down there often to see them. And that was always my, like, connection to God.
Got you.
Through my grandpa.
Through your grandpa. Okay.
And so then when I started going to church with my best friend and her dad, I always remember he always kind of, like, put it out there. Like, sophomore year, I was at her house, and he like came into like just was randomly like in her room talking to us early in the morning, and like was trying to and she and I like went through the same journey like kind of together. So like we both like there was a time like we really believed in like angel numbers and crystals and things like that. And so he would come in there and he would talk about it. He was like, "What do those do for you?"
Wow.
And so like really like planting like a seed almost.
Yes, yes.
And then
Shout out to that dad, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name is, but God bless him.
Yeah, Matthew, actually. And so then we started going to church with his family, Sugar Creek.
Okay.
And so, and I was going there and I really liked it. And I was like really starting to like better myself. Like she and I, like there were a lot of times like we would go out and like we would party and we would do things like that. And then once I started going to church, like I like kind of started pulling back from that, but like it was still kind of there.
Yeah.
And then I met him. And
Talking about Snapchat lacrosse?
Yes.
God bless him.
And I met Deuce, and he also just kind of like kept pushing me in the right direction almost.
Love it.
And
love it.
It started to get to a point where she was in an online school. So she didn't actually go to school.
Okay.
But she would like never really do her schoolwork.
Yikes.
And so she started like when I moved in, we were like, okay, we're gonna go to the gym together. We're gonna go to church. We're gonna better ourselves. And we started like, she was like staying still, and I just kind of kept going. So it kind of caused a divide between us.
Okay.
And then so my mom and I started talking again and like rebuilding our relationship.
Nice.
And so then I was like, and then like also the Scions and like seeing how he like just cherished his family and always loved his family. And like that was
so many of them. There's so many of you.
And
there's so much to cherish.
It's so like important to him. Like it was like no matter like what I've gone through with my mom and like whatever has happened, like that's still my mom.
Yeah.
And there like became this like the closer that I got to God, the overwhelming need it was to like be back in the house with my family, especially for like my last 6 months.
Wow. So this is recent so you moved back in.
Mm-hmm. I moved back in on New Year's Eve.
Oh, get out of here.
Mm-hmm. And
so over winter break, you were
over winter break.
Wow.
And I was, but the entire time. So actually, I think it was like December 7th or 8th, I was playing in a lacrosse tournament. In the first game, first 5 minutes, I actually collapsed on the field. And
like passed out?
Mm-hmm, like I couldn't, like I was like dizzy and I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't breathe. So I ended up going to the ER, and I had like, I don't know if I had a panic attack, but I like, once I got there, I was so uncomfortable and I didn't want to be there anymore. And my dad was the one who took me, and my dad and I don't really have like, he's always like, very like tough.
Yeah.
Like he's not there to like comfort.
Right. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of dads like that,
yeah,
honestly.
and he's like he's made me and my siblings all very strong.
Okay.
But it also like causes a divide. But so just between him and just being stressed out at that tournament, I was supposed to, there was a coach from Southwestern for lacrosse.
Okay.
Who was supposed to watch me play potentially give me an offer to go there.
Yikes.
And so she didn't get to see me play. And so she started looking at my other teammates. And so then I was just like, I already knew as soon as like I went down, I was like, this is just not going to be good.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I remember like genuinely more than just like going to like sleep and praying. And like before I went to bed, like I was in the hospital and my dad had stepped out and I was crying and I was just like I just called out for God. And so then, like, I decided after that I was going to, whatever bad habits I had, whatever was dragging me down, I was going to just push, like, it's done.
Yeah.
I don't need it anymore if it's not benefiting me. And so I noticed that after that, like, my best friend, she had stopped benefiting me. And it was something that was really hard for me to, like, come to, like, terms with because we had helped each other so much. Like, even though I say that, like, she stopped and I kept going, she still did a lot of, like, and she still, like, her and her family were definitely something that I needed.
Yeah.
And then she kind of would stop, like, especially within, like, the last couple of weeks, she would, like, we would wake up to go to church and she would be, like, oh, I'm just going to stay home.
Wow.
Like, I just don't feel good. And then I just felt this, like, overwhelming pull to keep going.
Yeah.
And then, so I ended up moving out, and she and I kind of fell out because just some, like, things happened.
Yeah.
And
Life does that.
It was what it was.
Yeah.
But I kept going to church, and I actually went to a different Sugar Creek location because during, like, the Christmas season, they had different pastors from the other Sugar Creek campuses come to eat. Like, they rotated around.
Through, yeah.
And there was one specific pastor, I can't remember his name, but he just, like the emotion and, like, how he was, like, laying it all out, like, was just, that was what I felt I needed. So I was driving to Missouri City every Sunday to go to his services.
You going from Richmond to Mo City?
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
And
Y'all love gas. Y'all love it out here.
And that was just, like, it was just, like, the need to be there.
Yeah.
So then he told me about the fast that y'all were doing.
The 21-day joint? You did that?
In January.
I didn't mean to make it sound like that. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know you would do it. I was for. I know. No, it didn't mean it like that. I didn't know. I'll talk about that later. I'm sorry.
He told me that him and his family were doing it.
Okay.
He also told me, like, 6 days late. So I started it late.
For the record, I did not throw that shot. Okay, amen. Oh, okay.
He was doing it.
And just so I'm clear, you guys have already connected via Snapchat by this point.
We had already gone on our first date, so he already asked me to be his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. And y'all fasting together.
Yeah.
Y'all so saved. I love it. Y'all so saved.
So then he told me about the fast, and I started doing it. And originally, so when I passed out and had to go to the hospital, it was because I was my BMI was super low, and it was lower than it needed to be. Just because, and so they found out that they told me that it was like your blood pressure is low, like all of these things, and it's like your body, like you have, for some reason, your body is like super athletic, and you need to be doing more than the average person.
Like eating wise, or just
eating wise, water,
all that.
Sodium, like your body needs more than what you're doing. Like the minimum amount isn't enough. Like you need to eat more, you need to drink more water.
There's a message in that, by the way.
And and so I started like doing all those things, and then he told me about the fast, and I originally was like, okay, I'm gonna do the 6 to 6, and I'm not gonna. He was like, are you crazy?
You cannot.
And so I gave up. I think I gave up chips, sugar, and like anything but like juice.
God bless you.
I think, and
sugar by itself is hard.
And that was what all of the little Scions were doing, him and his siblings.
That is a dope cartoon name. The Little Scions, bro. Trademark that.
And so I went to one of his basketball games, and then I met his family, and I think I was at a tournament. This is the first time all year that I had missed service. And so I was in a tournament in College Station, and he texted me. He was like, what time are you getting home? My mom wants you to come to church because it was the last day of the fast.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first time that I came. And
we were up on that day, boy.
So then I was like, well, I'll probably be home before 3. And so he was like, okay, so you're going to come to church. And I was like, okay, I'll be there.
I love it, Deuce. Let's go.
So then I went there, and I immediately, like, I was just like, this is where I need to be.
That's wild. Because I do remember you showing up, because you were introduced as Deuce's girlfriend, which was a big deal. Because it was a big deal. I don't know who he dated prior to you, but nobody knew about him. So for you to enter into the ranks was a big deal. And I remember you walking in, you had your Bible, and you may not know this. So in Black church in the 80s, in the 70s, they used to put the tabs in. Mm-hmm. So every time I see tabs in the Bible, I think of old people. And you walked in, I mean, tabbed and highlighted out, boy. First of all, finding somebody with a physical Bible is like a rarity these days. You had that. You had tabs. And I was like, wow, man, this is wild right now. And then that's how I knew you. In my head, you had been saved for like 36 years. I did not know that it was like a recent convert. Because you remember the year you got saved? Or like the year that you like really looks like, okay, I'm done with crystals. I'm done with all that stuff. It's Jesus and Jesus only.
This year?
This year.
Like, I want to say, well, at least like maybe like November, probably like within like the 2 weeks before he and I went on our first date, I was like, okay, this stuff is not what I want. This is not. And it was really like, once I started going to church and like I really started like praising God and I really started praying and I like kind of like, I didn't start really praying until December, but like I started going to church and like letting myself like be there. Cause I remember when me and my best friend first started going to church, like I was looking at all these people with their hands raised and I was like, I want to feel that.
Wow.
And then once it started happening, I was like, nothing else feels like this.
Jeez, man. That means a lot. That's crazy. I love that though. Well, okay, so this is what's wild though. So this is this year. And what it feels like to me is like every time you're about to get settled in life, God transitions you somewhere. So now you're going to college. So, and it's not far, but it's far enough, right? So there's two parts happening from what I'm hearing. Number one, you've never lived outside of Richmond, so this will be a first. You're staying on campus? And then you've recently just kind of really found your footing here with God, but now you're getting ready to move. Like, how are you processing that? Like, what's the...
It's kind of like, it doesn't, like, I don't feel worried about it. In a way. Like, I feel I've gone out of my way already to make sure that I'm going to go in and surround myself with people who are also in faith.
Yes.
And I went and I joined, it's called Young Life.
Oh, I know Young Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know Trey and Kira, Young Life.
I joined the Texas State Young Life. I just went to camp with them, and we just served Elevation Church. They were there.
Yes.
And I met so many people. I met people from UT, UTSA, all of the Texas State people.
Wow.
And, like, that is what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to playing lacrosse for their club team. I'm looking forward. And there's something that I have felt recently, like, I want to do something where I'm spreading the word of God more to just the people that I know personally. And I feel like Young Life is a step to do that, but I also know that no matter what, as long as I like keep my footing in God, like I'm gonna be okay. And for the last year, like truly like getting baptized and truly like giving myself to God and putting my faith in Jesus and just being there, I haven't felt any better than I have.
Wow, man.
And like,
amazing.
It's just something that's so different.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels like new, but at the same time, it feels like I've known it all along.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a familiar feeling, even though it's brand new. I think what's well, first of all, let me commend you, because this is, from a pastoral perspective, this is some of the stuff that gets us excited, because we don't see this often. I hate saying that, but normally those who are new to the faith generally are not prepared like that. But this is so much more, and we'll talk about this later offline, but this is so much more biblical than you think. Conversion, being sent out. What do you think, if you were to project out, and I'll probably have to end it on this because I feel like I'm gonna get too happy. If you were to project out your next 4 years, because what's the degree you're going for?
Health and fitness management.
Okay, I'm assuming that's like 4 years. Is there like
it's post? It could be 4 years. It depends on what I want to do. I haven't really decided if like I want to like open my own gym, be a personal trainer, or go into PT school. But I'm leaning more towards possibly opening like my own gym.
We got to talk about that. Okay, I love that. So let's project out the next 4 years. You walk away from Texas State University. You want your legacy to be what when you leave that campus?
That I'm one of the few people that isn't just known for partying. Like that's one of the biggest things that matters the most to me, just because like I did some of it in high school. I don't care for it. Like,
Wow.
there's no, for me, like, the only party that I need to have is a party with Jesus.
I love it. This is great. Yeah, I think that's even, I would, if I can be completely honest, I think that is beautiful, and I still think it's going to be bigger than what you're stating. I just like the amount of fire you're going in with to that campus. And Nick and Chris can tell you, we did college ministry back in California. It is you're going to impact more people than you think, and I think even beyond that, you're going to be discipling more people than you think. That's going to be the wild experience for you when you actually have to, like, not have to, but when you get to lead people to Christ and then grow them in the faith and things like that. We were just having a conversation before this about what college ministry would look like in Texas, and the problem with Texas for me is that it's so big and it's so wide and it's so vast. How do you effectively do that? Normally what we would do back at home is we would go to the campus, we would evangelize on the campus and feed them back to the church. But it feels like now here it's almost the opposite, where it's like you're sending people from the church to go evangelize on the campus, not necessarily bring them back, but take whatever that God has to that campus. I think that's you. If I'm being honest, I think that's you. And Deuce too. But I think, like, even what you're saying right now is interesting to me because you have such a unique perspective based upon your life, based upon the faith, and you haven't been jaded by church. I can speak for everybody in this room. The worst Christians are the ones who grew up Christian. Just being honest, we are the worst because we get so comfortable by this age that, like, normally by this stage, it has worn off. And then we have now decided when we graduate high school, we're graduating Jesus. And we're going to spend our first 2 years of college, like you said, partying. We're going to do something. And then we'll eventually come back, you know what I mean, when we decide to be grown. You have made the decision to walk into this with the fresh fire as opposed to it being stale. So I'm praying that does not leave you. I pray that God will sustain you with that. I pray that you become not only addicted to the feeling, but addicted to the fruit. I want you to see the fruit, and I think you're going to see that like 10 times fold. You know what I mean? First of all, thank you for being on here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Now, do you have a Cash App?
I do.
Good. I'm going to leave the Cash App in the description. So whether or not you watch it live as we're broadcasting this or you go back and watch the replay, if you want to support Kam on her journey, whether it be for ministry, buy that woman some top ramen so she could eat on college campus. You're going to have roommates?
I have one roommate. I was lucky enough to get a suite where I have my own bedroom and my own door that closes. And
You sure didn't. That is a blessing. Well, you still need to eat. You still need to do all that stuff. So if you guys want to support Kam, we're going to put her Cash App in the description. And you guys support. And you leave
the 16th.
The 16th. So we are praying you out this Sunday, which is going to be the
10th?
It is the 10th. We're praying you out the 10th, and then you leave the next Saturday. Man, that's going to be wild. Well, this has been The Morning Leap. I am super grateful for you, Kam. Tell them your last name, because you didn't give them your whole name.
Rollins.
Thank you.
Kam Rollins.
Spell your last name?
Rollins.
There it is. All right, well, that's it. We love y'all. We'll be back with another episode with another person in this seat, the one I've been talking to on that couch, and he plays lacrosse. Love Snapchat. I'll holler at y'all later.